And by the way, Jane Cargill is 53-0. What would they be saying about Wardlow right now if he was 53-0? I wonder. We'll get to that in a minute, too. I'm going to bring up something that maybe they could have done instead of what they have done. But first, we get the six-man tag team match. Brian, what'd you think of Jericho and Sammy and Garcia against Top Flight and AR Fox?
I don't want to talk too much about the match, but I was intrigued by the post-match.
Well, this was the top of the 9 o'clock hour segment. And they went to the break after 3 minutes of match at 9:02. So that kind of defeats the purpose of having a top of the fucking 9 o'clock segment. But this was neither star power nor a gripping match that would keep people. And then they didn't even keep them to begin with. They sent them to break. But Hager hit Darius in the back with a bat, and then Jericho hit the Judas on him, 1, 2, 3. And Hager looked even more ridiculous than ever in whatever the fuck he was wearing. And my God, what a free ride this fucking guy's got. Just. Anyway, then they all have to talk. Cool Hand Luke starts talking. And that's why they're still in California. And by the way, what is Light the Beam? There were signs saying light the beam, and he said, everybody's going to light the beam. And then they chanted, light the beam. What is the beam, and why does it need lighting? And then Daddy Mac, he yelled some. He sounds like Cyndi Lauper, but his voice is not quite as deep, but with the New Jersey accent or whatever. And they say that they're the number one contenders for the six-man tag team title and challenge the House of Black. And then the lights go out, but Kansas music plays. And, I really used to like Kansas. They've ruined Kansas for me now. Here come, well, they don't come, they're out there in the entranceway. Kenny and the Buckaroos. And Kenny does his usual douchebag promo voice, and so we've avoided each other and stayed away from your universe or whatever for like 3 years, but these are our six-man belts, you bastards. No, that was more exciting than what he did say. He just said, well, they're laying claim to the six-man belts. And then to save it, thank fuck, have you ever been happy to see Don Fallis before? He runs out and jerks the microphone out of Kenny's hand. People stood up and applauded. No,
he sucks too. Don't pretend he doesn't suck.
Well,
too.
No, but there's levels. At least he's sucking right now because of the situation he's in, the people he's surrounded himself with, and the way that he's made himself look. But at least he picked up the energy level on the microphone from Twinkle Toes. And he cut the promo on Jericho, knocking him for being the second best wrestler ever from Winnipeg, and third if he had a few months to get in shape. I thought Bulldog Bob Brown was from Winnipeg. He's better than Kenny. Anyway, so Jericho challenges them right here, right now. Let's do it. And then the lights go out again. There's that heel fucking lighting guy again. And then this was where they jumped the shark. The House of Black was on the screen. And they're in their normal dark room. And they're obviously live because they're referring to what has just been happening. Hey, boys, you don't need to fight. You don't need to argue amongst each other. If you want these, and they held up the six-man belts, and then the lights went out again. And then the lights come back on, and now the House of Black is standing in the aisleway in between the Jericho Appreciators in the ring and the fucking Buckaroos on the stage, and he finishes his sentence, come get 'em, in the space of 10 seconds. So they exposed their own business because I don't think anybody believes that they legitimately teleported themselves from that dark room through space to that spot in 10 seconds. So they pre-taped the dark room where they were reacting to shit that wasn't happening because it hadn't happened yet. just to do a cool spot that a bunch of people who do not have female lips around their dicks on a regular basis would applaud for. And then the lights went out again. And when the lights came back on again, the House of Black was gone. And Jericho was screaming at the floor camera like a maniac because he realized that they were being stood left in the ring like a spare prick at the wedding. And the Buckaroos, because they're used to being spare pricks at a wedding, they just fucking wandered off. And this whole thing from entrances to match to the end of promo, and then the poor man's David Copperfield, Chris Angel routine vanishing in the darkness was over 20 fucking minutes. Your thoughts?
I initially was intrigued, although I think it's ridiculous. If you're gonna do a run-in or confront someone, you should be able to just do it without music playing, without a big image, all of these things, let alone not doing a run-in or anything, just standing there to do your pose. There's a time and a place for all these things. I was intrigued by the idea. We asked the other day, what does Jericho do next? You know what? Jericho and Guevara and Garcia feuding with the Elite? That could be interesting. It'll be nuts. We'll have lots to laugh about and complain about. But I wonder what's going to happen there. And then the spooky shit. And it's like, fuck! Like even House of Black. If House of Black was exactly who they are minus smoke and teleporting, I'd probably like them a whole lot better. But as soon as they do this shit, as soon as they show that they have magical powers, that takes me completely out of it. They're doing this match in Winnipeg. Three-way, six-person, well, I guess not three-way trios tag team title match.
There's three. Yes, there's 9 of them.
9 of them in Winnipeg. You don't think he's going to hotshot this belt in Winnipeg, do you? Consider you have Kenny and you have Jericho?
Well, again, here's the problem. It might be interesting with there's 3 of Jericho's guys, and there's 3 of the House of Black, and there's 3 of the Buckaroos. So now that we know that they all have a common goal of the 6-man tag team title, then, yeah, if they got into a program, well, it might be interesting. But now that we know they're going to have the 3-way match next week, so they're either doing a 7-day program, or they're doing, as Tony usually does, the program in reverse order and having the blow-off match first, to where that each succeeding match will have less interest than the previous one did, which is Tony's normal pattern. Even if you were going to have these teams mad at each other and work toward each other, you don't do the 3-way as the first fucking match. You're an imbecile.